Yeah. Y'all see that fight? I ain't see it. I didn't watch it. Well, actually, I did. I went back and watched some of the fight and a lot of the highlights. But never mind that. Because if you watched it, you're just going to know what I'm saying. It's true anyway. But there really are there really are no good heavyweights left. There are no good heavyweights left. Deontay Wilder wasn't a good heavyweight, man. Anthony Joshua is trash, glass jaw. He needs to be like a pro wrestler or a bodybuilder or like a fitness trainer. He needs to be on like YouTube telling people how to get their abs tight and how he got his body chiseled. You know what I mean? He need to be on like some Mike Rashid shit or you know what I'm saying? In his own lane, whatever that is. Maybe he isn't like some iron addict or something like that. But well, clearly he is. He's some kind of workout warrior. But whether it's calisthenics, whether it's slapping them plates on that iron, whether it's yoga, whatever. He needs to just be teaching that. You know what I mean? Because clearly he's not a fighter. At best he's a boxer, but he's not a fighter, and there's a difference. You know what I mean? I think fighters are born; they're not really taught. Like if it's not really in you to fight, to be a fighter, and if you've never given yourself permission to be a fighter, um, meaning like in school, you had good parents, Dr. Heathcliff Huxtable, Claire Huxtable. They told you to go to school, listen to the teachers, do the right thing. You don't fight, you don't get in trouble. And if that was your lane, that's commendable. Do that, be that. But you probably, you know what I mean, like you never were a fighter. Unless maybe you took some classes or something. You got into boxing later, you discovered you were a fighter, you got into MMA or, whatever, and you discovered you were a fighter. Some way you discovered you're a fighter. Sometimes that goes back as early as like childhood and being in school and getting in a lot of fights and that being a mischievous thing. Whether you were winning or losing, sometimes you were a winner. Oftentimes, if you were getting your ass kicked early on, it might have been a good thing, because it instilled in you something that you didn't want to be bullied again. But yeah, back to my purpose of this videos. There are no good heavyweights left. Uh, Deontay Wilder, um, it's kind of like a Kimbo Slice kind of figure. And what I mean by that is he's got the looks. I mean, he's a black dude. So automatically, because black people are, you know, criminalized, stereotyped, etc., to be thugs, gangsters, fighters, this, that. Um, we already have a perception of them being tough guys and gangsters and thugs and all of that. Um, but in the first fight, you know, I felt like, and you can clearly see, he got exposed. He got exposed for having just raw skills at best, maybe no skill. You know what I mean? And getting by on like athleticism and talent, maybe. You know, what happens oftentimes in boxing is, um, if they see something in you, something um, either marketable, that people can make money, or maybe there's like a one or two raw skill talent kind of thing in you, and in order to maximize or manipulate or either maximize the situation or manipulate the situation, um, and or develop you and or the situation, certain actions will be done. um, if it's to develop you, if you got really good people in your corner, they'll set certain fights up for you that will not only build your confidence but also test you in the right way. If it's just, a flash in the pan, you're appealing, you're marketable, we can make money off of you, i.e., Kimbo Slice. Because hey, you know, I was rooting for Kimbo Slice. We were rooting for Kimbo Slice. Black people were rooting for Kimbo Slice. People who, white folk who like to see black destruction. Niggas just with that image. He had that. All of this funny looking shit. This look plus 250 pounds of solid muscle and tattoos, and you look like a badass. You look like you wear leather pants on your off days and you ride a motorcycle, or whatever. He looked like Kimbo Slice had the image. He was very nice. Kevin Ferguson, very nice guy. Kimbo Slice, the alter ego, he had this image of like, he's fresh out of jail or something. Fresh off the jail yard. That's what he looked like, He looked like, the bad version of Mr. T. Mr. T, another good guy who created this image of being, this badass. But even in his image, for the most part, like Mr. T did good things. He was like on cereal and shit like that when you were younger. If you all remember, the '80s or whatnot. They marketed him in a good way that made him kid friendly, and yet to adults he's like he could totally kick some ass. But of course he's a fighter. He was a bodybuilder, whatever. I mean, not a fighter. He was an actor and like a bodybuilder kind of guy. Fighting is totally different. Fighting is about like instincts and like this thing in you that will not quit and surrender and wants to, destroy the other person and take their head off, albeit within the rules and whatever. The caveat to that is if we're talking about street fighting, then all bets are off. But if you're talking about the sport of boxing or MMA, you want to destroy somebody, but within the rules and do it safely and respect the craft. Let me say, Tyson Fury, he's not a fighter. I mean, he is a fighter in a sense of, I mean, he's got fighting instincts, but his style, he's a boxer. He's a fighter though in a sense of, well, he can, from a technical standpoint, he's assessing and looking and breaking you down, and he definitely saw something in that first meeting and was like, oh man, I can take this guy. I think we all did, those of us who had eyes. And that's what Kimbo Slice ran against in the MMA, because those people weren't intimidated. They were fighters. On the streets, you can intimidate people with that prison look. When you get in that octagon, hey man, that they've been fighting people, so they're not afraid to get hit. They're not afraid to, you know what I mean? Some are, but that percentage of people definitely lessens and wanes, and fewer people are scared. And he ran against someone who wasn't scared. He reminded me of Tyson only in this sense, not his punching power and all of that. People talk about his punching power. I'm not sure his punching power was all that impressive, man. I've never seen him fight a whole lot. The only time I got introduced to Deontay Wilder was his fight with Tyson Fury. It was the first time me hearing about either one of them. And I saw his record, like 41 wins and 41 knockouts. I'm like, God damn. Who the fuck is this motherfucker? Who the fuck is this nigga knocking people out? 40 knockouts in 40 fights? The thing was, you never heard of this guy. You heard about Tyson by the time his record was like 20-0 or some shit, and with 18 knockouts or something like that or whatever. I don't know the record per se if you look it up, but you start hearing about Tyson around that time, 85 and shit, 85 and 86, 87, he was knocking motherfuckers the fuck out. Now, granted, a lot of those people were tomato cans. Some were maybe real fighters, but, they're going to feed you a lot of tomato cans when they see something in you, i.e., marketability and or talent, that they can either make money off of you or you look promising like you can go somewhere, which means we can make money off of you. Tyson was both. He was probably more promising on the skill level than he was on the marketability level at first, because his demeanor, he was such a he had this voice and speech impediment, and he was really like trying to be a good kid at that point, trying to be a nice guy. Cuss had really kind of whipped him into shape, and, along those lines. Um, Definitely wasn't perfect, but you know what I mean. The antics and the "I'll eat your baby" and all of that came much later with Tyson, and it really came when his skills had diminished and he had nothing left but intimidation and trying to be a bully. And the thing is, when you run up against a Tyson Fury or another fight, Evander Holyfield or Lennox Lewis, who may not be an extroverted tough guy, a beta male tough guy, energy, rah, eat your kids. But when guys talk like that in the room, they're not afraid of that. You know, it's a lot more.